So let's start out with Afghanistan. Supposedly we came to liberate the people from Al-Qaeda and the Taliban. But mostly we just killing civilians. About the only freedom that we brought them is the freedom to grow poppies and marijuana. I know we originally went to get bin Laden, but somehow he's supposedly hiding in some cave or another. But for the life of me, I can't figure out how he's getting his twice weekly dialysis treatment. Remember, his kidneys are shot. Then, I reckon, comes Pakistan. Talk about a boondoggle there. $10 billion over the last 6 or so years. All in cash and under the table, of course. Absolutely no control over how he spends it. Because when you talk Pakistan, it's basically he. It went from a fake democracy to out-and-out dictatorship under martial law. Now, he first said that it was due to the insurgency threatening the stability of his country. So what's he do? He goes out and arrests all his political opponents, whom he intends to keep in jail till after the elections, if they ever occur. Fires anybody on the Supreme Court who has an inkling to challenge the validity of his position in government. And the day after he declares martial law, he frees a bunch of Taliban chiefs that had previously been incarcerated. His second explanation of the need for martial law was the fact that Pakistan was in danger of becoming a failed nation, or failed state, I guess is the short term. Well, it seems to me, since he's the one that's been in control as the state was failing, that would be the last choice to lead you out of the situation. Kind of like Bush got us into Iraq. He's definitely the wrong person to rely on to get us out of Iraq. Congress. You got both sides screeching about how the others are so fiscally irresponsible. Then they go and approve a $50 billion credit card expenditure to continue the boondoggle in Iraq. Oh, they added a little symbolic caveat, beseeching the shrub to start moving the troops out of harm's way with suggested goals. Like he's going to pay attention to any suggestions, other than maybe veto the whole kit and caboodle just because he finally found out he could veto, and he enjoys being a contrarian. And then on top of that, they passed the largest defense appropriations bill in the history of the world. Our military budget is already twice as big as the defense budgets of all other nations combined. Of course, that wasn't good enough. They went ahead and tacked on an extra 10%. And on the same day, Bush vetoes the Human Health and Services budget because it's $20 billion over what he thinks is fiscally prudent. And the Repubs have lately been complaining how this is becoming a do-nothing Congress. Of course, they don't tell you the reason that nothing's getting done is that in the Senate, every bill that passes has to be filibuster-proof. Because after complaining last year every time that the Democrats even thought about filibustering something, how irresponsible that was, the Republican senators are demanding that every bill be filibuster-proof. In the House, they just tacking on amendment after amendment, trying to gum up the works whatever way possible so that they can campaign on this being a do-nothing Democratic Congress. Here's hypocrisy. 99% of the warmongers are themselves chicken hawks, meaning they ain't ever actually served on the field of battle in defense or service of our country. The GOP calls themselves the Values Party. In reality, they keep getting busted for corruption, sexual infidelity, usually with the same sex, or pedophilia. And all along, mainstream media have been pushing as their number one choice for the Republican presidential candidate the most corrupt, liberal, and incompetent person available. Yeah, Giuliani, I'm talking about you. And for the other side of the ticket, their choice is the most corporate-loving, status quo pushing, read that, shrub-like Democrat that has ever run for the presidency. Now, the mainstream media has not been talking about three guys running for president from the two major parties. Ron Paul, okay, he's against the war, and I'm happy for that. But the man is not what this country needs. He'd take us back to 1912. States' rights is a code that I don't totally agree with. Gravel and Kucinich on the Democratic side are not even invited to participate in debates anymore, I don't believe, even though they're the only two Democrat contenders that are really speaking for the needs of the average American. And if all you watch is the mainstream news, you're probably not aware that Dennis Kucinich has actually filed a bill or something along those lines calling for the impeachment of Cheney. And this is on top of the fact that the latest Gallup poll says over 50% of Americans are ready for impeachment of Bush and Cheney to begin. And the stock market's crashing. Real inflation's running rampant. The dollar is tanking. But if you watch the news, we've got a great economy. Strong. Enough for now. Into the circle file.